Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and usually with me, my hetero life mate, Oh My Feelings, but he is away. I've sent him on a suicide mission. No, never mind. To help fill the void is our good friend, Jay Harang. How are you, sir?
Very good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm pretty chippy this evening. What is
nice.
What?
Chippy, nice.
Chippy's a good English.
Chipper, isn't it? Chippy means the fish and chip shop.
Well, yes, I am.
Yeah. Okay, anyway,
what is the Reel McCoy? You might ask. The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we discuss it, break it down for you, and just ceaselessly enjoy or not, depending on the movie. But today, last week, we should have started our Hanksgiving month where we discuss Tom Hanks's movies. We were about to do Road to Perdition, but we hit a snag, and that snag is my early wedding anniversary, and our dinner plans that got royally screwed. But that's a story for a different day. But for us today, this show with Jay, we're going to discuss the movie Big. Jay, you're old enough. You're my age. Have you seen the movie in the theater?
I certainly have. I went to see this in San Francisco Theater in 1988, I believe.
Yeah, I did not.
Okay.
The only movie I remember watching in 1988 was actually Roger Rabbit. Now I remember watching it in the theater because that's the only movie in my life that my dad actually took me to watch.
All right.
But yeah, I think I've only seen it on VHS about a few months after it came out, probably. Not a biggie. I don't think it's a must-see theater film.
No.
But, it's neither here or there. Fond memories?
Yeah, I enjoy. Well, as a kid, I enjoyed it. Definitely.
Yeah. It's a pretty good film all around. But just to start us off, let's start us off at the beginning because it's gonna be just a lot of nostalgia in this show, I think. But we're gonna start with some important stuff because it's time for Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
Behind the Screens is where we go to me, and we'll get the lowdown on everything that is behind the scenes, production stuff, and a few funny stuff as well. All right. First of all, the script was developed early in 1984 by Gary Ross and Ann Spielberg. If Spielberg rings a bell to you, yes, it is Steven Spielberg's sister. Now, Steven Spielberg was kind of thinking about being the director of this movie, but he didn't want to steal his sister's thunder, so he backed off, which is admirable. John Landis was approached to be to direct this movie, but he was busy getting plans together in doing Coming to America, which came out the same year. Ivan Reitman from Ghostbusters and other things was tapped to maybe try and get something going, but he already committed in doing Twins, also came out that year. Frank Oz, the Miss Piggy guy, and Yoda was tapped. No go. Amy Heckerling from Ridgemont High,
right,
was tapped. No go. And John Hughes. All were approached and all turned it down. And then it came to Penny Marshall, Gary Marshall's sister. And she took the script and she ran with it, but she could not sell it to any studio. She just couldn't find anybody else to actually start shooting it. And then De Niro read the script and he kind of liked it. And he was interested in playing Josh, the older Josh, the Tom Hanks role Josh.
Yeah.
And once the studios heard that De Niro was getting connected into the movie, that's where they are like, okay, we're going to take on the budget and start making stuff happen. Now, Ross and Spielberg, the scriptwriters, had to sort of adapt the script itself because it was written for a 30-year-old man, so sort of like 13 going on 30, and they've started to sort of tailor it to a more older actor, and De Niro himself even had a few reading sessions with several actresses just to, when they bring in different actors and actresses to test out the chemistry because there is a romance factor in it and they want it to be believable.
When you say about them not being able to sell the script, do you think that's anything to do with the fact that it's a bit of a been there and done that? Like, not in the way that like a kid turns into a man, but there was quite a lot of these body switch things already, like in the 60s and stuff. So you've got that one with, is it Dudley Moore? You got that one with George Burns. Don't know whether these, I think, not Oh God, is it? George Burns is the, can't remember that.
I know which one you're meaning, but with the little kid.
Yeah, that's it. And then there's original Freaky Friday. But do you think that's probably why it was that they struggled to sell it? Because it was a bit sort of seen as.
It might have been for the lame executive. It could have been that sort of a movie. I see where you're getting at. There's also a little anecdote about that as well.
Right.
There was also a film that was called 14 Going on 30, which is sort of like 13 going on 30.
Yeah.
That came out the same year as well.
Right. I've never heard of that.
Like low budget, didn't have any backers, straight to not DVD. I was going to say straight to DVD, but straight into home video, basically. And we'll say hello to everyone in the Salty Nerd Podcast. Welcome, Raiders. Strap in your cognitive brains. Let's do this. So, the CEO of Fox Oh, wait, sorry. So De Niro already read with a few actresses to test out the chemistry and said, well, I'm committing on doing this, but I want $6 million, which the CEO of Fox, I think, said, no, absolutely not. This is a small budget film, not a big budget film. We can't afford you. So because there was already a notion of it's going to be an older actor, they tried several. So Harrison Ford, Dennis Quaid, Jeff Bridges, Gary Busey, Kevin Costner, and Robin Williams, Michael Keaton, and that was the more older looking fellows, but also Judd Reynolds from Richmond High. But also he did a movie with Fred Savage that came out a year before, or that year.
Year before, I think. Vice versa,
where they switch bodies.
I'll tell you something about that film. Both of those two people do a brilliant job in that film. Fred Savage is outstanding as the adult stuck in the kid's body, and he's much better than Judge Reinhold. But Judge Reinhold could do that now, couldn't he? He could play one part one year and the other part the other. He could play he's the adult this week, and then next week he gets so much plastic surgery that he's the kid. I mean, it doesn't work, but he thinks it does.
Yeah. All right, let's say hello to the chat. Keely Chow, how are you doing? Kalekioki, how are you?
Roll Tide. That's what we're supposed to say when we see Keely Chow. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Yeah. Jillian and hello. Juliet, welcome. One Punch Man. Who else is in the chat? All of you guys, plus all the lurkers. We love you. Here we go. Let's continue. So all these, plus Judge Reynolds, plus this is a out of left field kind of a casting call. John Travolta was also considered. However, the executives said absolutely not, because at the time, if you remember, he was box office poison.
He was fat as well.
Everything he was in failed.
Oh, look who's talking. 1987, 88, I think. And that did all right. He was fat. He was fat then.
But the fact of the matter is, he did not carry the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
The person who carried the movie was Bruce Willis's
100%. Yeah.
Dubbing, basically, of the kid.
Yeah.
Which is completely sold, because I don't think Kirstie Alley was that much of a big star. So it was all up to Bruce Willis at that point.
At that time, I think she was mainly doing TV shows.
Yeah, I think she was Cheers at the time.
She replaced Shelley Long in Cheers, and she was also in the miniseries North and South, which was quite big at the time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So how did Tom Hanks fit into the picture? Now, originally, sort of in between De Niro, that whole saga, Tom Hanks he did audition, but he was rejected because they kind of got Robert De Niro going, kind of said, okay, it's going to be a little bit of an older actor. Tom Hanks cannot play 40. He can do 30, because that was around his age.
Yeah.
And also, Tom Hanks was rather busy at the time when he was rejected. He was shooting Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd, and he was doing Punchline with Sally Field, which came out also the same year as Big.
Yeah.
So he was busy. Once he was done with those and De Niro left, they came back to Tom Hanks and he was free. And they said, well, let's just jump on the board, because, kind of looks the same. And the entire script changed right back, where it just fell back into the default of what it was. I actually read the first few pages of the approved script, not the changes, but the approved script.
Okay.
It's pretty much spot on. Like, whatever it was done on page, it was pretty much spot on, except for a few things. But the ad-lib stuff came later on. I have that already queued up.
Right.
For the role of Susan, there were a few actresses. Some of them, like I said, did the chemistry read with De Niro. Catherine O'Hara from Beetlejuice, the mom from Beetlejuice. Meg Tilly, Jennifer Tilly's sister, and also Elizabeth Perkins, who actually got selected, but she came in early to talk to the chemistry test with De Niro, came back, did the same test with Tom Hanks. Everything kind of clicked and all was well. And Jillian, and thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, 5 more meth addicts.
Yeah, thank you. I got one of those. Cheers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So in order to prepare for the role, and after we've got our 2 young kids that are doing Josh and young Josh and Billy, in order to sort of prepare for like getting to know each other, Tom and David is the guy playing Josh. They spend a lot of time together with acting coaches, going over what they're going to do and all that stuff. And then they took Josh, Billy, and Tom and put them in a room to play with toys.
Tom Hanks and 2 children in a room together. I hope it was being supervised.
Yes, it was supervised.
Allegedly.
Yeah. No, it was supervised. Plus, I think Tom, well, I definitely know Tom already was married and had a kid of his own. Because
those people are always innocent.
Yeah.
That's the perfect alibi. Now, I'm not saying he's done anything wrong or he hasn't done anything. All I'm saying is that
all I'm saying is Hollywood and it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I think Tom, regardless of what he has become right now politically, I'm not sure he's one of those.
I don't think so either. I mean, I think, to be honest, there's a lot of things to go around, isn't there, about people? But the thing is, it's just fun to say, isn't it? So, like, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to spread a rumor, even though it's not true. We don't know if it's true or not, but I assume it's not true. So,
okay, what did happen in that room was there were a few cans of silly string.
Oh, were there? Right.
And they had so much fun with it. They actually took that sort of fun stuff that they did in that playroom and brought it and did an ad-lib scene with Jared, the guy playing Billy is called Jared. They had that ad-lib scene in the makeshift hotel room, and it was just fun. It's one of those things that were ad-libbed a little bit.
Yeah.
They had structure of what they wanted to do with the scene, just add in that little extra bit.
The guy who plays Billy. What else has he been in? Because he's one of those people that I recognize from loads of 80s stuff, but like I haven't seen him since, and I don't know what else he's been in. Shall I have a look at that?
Not a lot. I went to the IMDb just to check out the cast, and even in IMDb, when you click on his name, his picture is just his kid picture.
Yeah,
it's not like an older guy. David, I think it's called David Moscow, who plays Josh. He has like an older picture, and he has a much bigger range of stuff that he did. Not major big stuff, but he's a working actor from what I can tell.
Right. I'll tell you why. I tell you why I recognize him. It's from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That's apparently Jared Rushton. Yeah.
Rushton. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, that's where I've seen him.
Yeah, he's done like it's late 80s, early 90s stuff that he's done, but I don't think he's done anything else much.
No, that's right. Yeah, probably had enough of it.
Maybe, Yeah. Where was I? Oh, the song, "Shimmy Shimmy Go Go Bop" is an actual song name, and it actually has lyrics. And for some god awful reason, I've actually listened to it today.
Okay.
The song and the title and just the Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Pop is a song by Little Anthony and the Imperials. And just the title was taken, and a little bit of the melody from the title was taken, but that whole concept and whole idea came from Tom Hanks's son, because apparently they kind of riffed over that song on a summer camp, and he came back home, started to sing it, and then it stuck in Tom Hanks's mind, and he brought it to Penny Marshall, and they kind of got developed from there into sort of an ad-libbed but structured kind of a thing where it's their song, and that's how they're able to connect. But yeah, it's a real song. The song itself, the Little Anthony and the Imperial song, has nothing to do with the song you hear in Big.
Right. Okay.
It's just that melody is kind of there. Right. Robert Loggia, who plays the head boss of Macmillan Toys.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks did their dancing scene in the piano, and they've noticed that their body doubles, or their dance body doubles, are waiting in the wings, and they just, they were waiting there in case both of them made a mistake.
Yeah.
So they made a conscious effort and made it their mission to not make any mistakes in order for their body doubles to take over.
Okay.
So their entire scene, no body doubles were ever used to play the piano. Now, I think I have if my wife sent it to me, and I think she did. Yeah, she did. Okay. Got a few pictures I want to show later.
Nice. All right. That's good. That's a great scene. That at the time I remember thinking, wow, that's amazing. I know I'd never seen a floor piano before, so I was like, wow.
And we haven't seen a floor piano since, I think.
Not maybe in a movie, no, but they do exist, like parks and stuff, don't they? And
I never, they did not give Michael Jackson's Thriller any credit for that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So the corn eating scene, where Tom Hanks eating a miniature corn, as if it's big, that was completely ad-libbed.
Right.
They just told him, eat something. And they filmed a few of those where he eats, there's the point where he eats a carrot and the dip is really good. So he puts another one and another one and another one, because he's just a big kid.
Yeah.
At least at that point. The game Josh is playing, the PC game with the wizard that freezes, that game does not exist at all. It was made
that's right.
Especially for the movie.
Makes sense.
The Zoltar machine did not exist at the time. Did not exist at all. However, it was later on fully distributed as a fortune-telling machine. Let's just say I was in LA and I found a Zoltar machine that is like exactly like that, but a little bit different, because you can tell it's newly made, but it says Zoltar.
Is there a photo of that on your Instagram?
I think there's a photo of that on my Twitter.
That's probably where I've seen it then. Yeah. I have. Yeah. I think that rings a bell. Yeah.
Right. I should have sent it to my PC.
Should have done.
I should have.
Yeah.
Two last things. One is Penny Marshall came up with the insect robot proposal that basically Josh did in that meeting. She was not aware that 3 years before that, the Transformers actually had insect robots that turn into, insects and Autobots.
I was not aware of that either.
Yeah. Well, you're not a Transformers kind of guy.
Not really.
And the last thing is Penny Marshall is the first female director to had a movie that grossed over $100 million.
Wow.
Yep. It's the Laverne and Shirley girl.
Yeah.
All right. So, before we actually begin, I wanted to show pictures, but I didn't send most of them because, I told my wife something and I didn't mean it. So This is me at actual FAO Schwartz, where they shot some of the scenes. This is the newer store. Apparently, they moved with the piano. It actually does work. They do not allow you to be on there with your shoes on.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's sort of like to my left or to my right, sort of like off to, let's say, if you can see my cursor, it's right about where it says Pia.
Yeah.
There's a big security guard that sort of like directs the traffic.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it's, to be honest, it's mostly for little kids. I've seen mostly little kids go on there. They do not allow you to lay down on it.
Okay.
It is just to like take pictures, maybe try to play chopsticks if you can, but nothing else.
Right. Okay.
It is fun though. It's really fun. There we go.
Well, no one's going to go full Liberace on it, are they? Because nobody can move like that.
No. You can technically, but you don't have the leg space to do it.
You'd need five people with two hands to do that, I think, wouldn't you?
Probably, and you can't like be on all fours and try to do it with your hands. It's not allowed.
I also suspect it's maximum 2-note polyphony. I can't imagine you can play chords. I don't know.
I think I didn't try any, like I did not try to play because I'm not good at it.
Okay.
But yeah, you can technically play chopsticks on it with like in the movie. Just like in the movie, you can do it, but yeah. All right, cool. Let's start. The movie begins with the game that does not exist, actually. Let me just pull
What's
it
called?
up.
The Ice Wizard or something? Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like you can say the Ice Wizard or whatever. It's the whole point of it just gives you a little bit of Josh's life before he turns into a grown-up. One of the things is basically he's playing video games. He is on the baseball team. He has a crush on some girl, the blonde chick who's a little bit taller than him.
Yeah.
But at that age, they're 12, 13, the girls are usually taller than the boys because they develop kind of quicker. And then the boys kind of catch up and overtake them, which, understandable. And you get to see his friend Billy, their whole interaction. You can see even Billy's there we go. So like this is Billy's house, this is Billy's mom. You can sort of tell the dynamic. I don't think this is from the extended scene, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say because I don't recognize this at all.
Yeah, the actual one, this scene does not exist, but there were some of them, that were not there. They have that whole interaction. Well, it comes in later, but they have that whole interaction where they're talking to each other with some walkie-talkies, just to establish the fact that they're neighbors, they're living close, they're at the same age, they go to the same school, they're pretty tight friends.
Yeah, they're tight.
And one of the things that I don't remember if it's in the extended scene or not, but the fact that they're staying out of that store and that blonde girl comes in and she says, "Hi, Josh." And Billy and Josh kind of talk about the fact that he is into her.
Right.
Again, it's been
so long. I can't
since,
remember. Yeah, same. So you can say this to me. I might have missed it, but
it's been so long since I've seen the not extended scene, so I don't remember. This is the point. There we go.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so she's walking down the street with her. They're even saying her brother's like a small little guy who keeps talking to her and kind of cock blocks everybody, but doesn't really matter. But they established the fact that he likes this girl. Then, of course, he goes with his parents to the carnival, and he wants to go on the ride. His mom and dad are like, "Yeah, okay, you can go on the ride," and he goes he waits on the line, and then of course he can't go on the ride with the girl.
Yeah.
And the boy she likes kind of whips her away and takes her on board, and he gets stuck. So all he wants to do is get taller. So he finds this machine, the Zoltar machine, and he, like a kid, asks for the wrong thing. He asks to be big rather than just tall.
Yeah.
So he does his thing. He goes into the mouth. He gets a card. Your wish will come true. And only then he realizes, yeah, this machine is not connected into anything, which is spooky, you know.
The classic electronic thing working and is not plugged in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he gets up in the morning. I want to get to, here we go. So he gets up in the morning. Enter Tom Hanks into the equation. Now, Tom Hanks has done plenty of these comedies or romantic comedies during the better part of the 80s. He was also in on a TV show where him and a friend couldn't get a job as secretaries, so they dressed up like women to get a job as a secretary.
Yeah. Fucking that is so 80s, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very 80s. So Josh gets up in the morning.
Yeah, we got to the part where Tom Hanks wakes up in a child's bed.
Yeah, child's bed. And he drops from the bed, and all you can see is like his hairy legs.
Yeah.
And he's like stretching and everything. He goes into the bathroom because that's what you do in the morning. Take a leak. And then he's like,
I'm not going to make the obvious comment.
He does a double take with the mirror. And then he's like, did I get my wish? And then the first thing you check is the equipment.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit. It's the bush is big. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
As Zohan said, the bush is big. But then he realizes that his mom is calling him to get down. And he's like, I don't know what's happening right now. He tries to get dressed with his own clothes, but he's putting one on one leg, and then he falls down because he can't get his other leg in because he is way too big.
That's how I feel when I tried to put on my jeans from pre-COVID.
Me too. So he kind of raids his dad's closet for some sweatpants, and he goes out and goes to the carnival place, and everything's gone.
Yeah.
Big problem.
See what we did there.
Of course, what he does, he gets back home and faces his mom, and that doesn't really go that well. Because for her, there is a stranger in the house. She's like, take everything, don't hurt me. But then she reaches the kitchen and she grabs a knife and she's like, get away from me.
Yeah, damn right.
And he leaves. Now we're going to do a little stop because it's time to play a little game.
Ooh.
And the game is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee for the uninitiated is where we take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off. We display them, and Jay and the chat will have to guess which movie this is. Jay, you're an expert, so we'll let you have it.
That's what I was trying to say, but you're talking over me. I appreciate I was interrupting. You better not stitch me up with any foreign muck. So just saying that.
Foreign? What is
What I mean? Non-English language subtitle business.
Oh, no Godzilla stuff?
No, that's not, stuff like, I don't know, whatever. It's still, they're all the same place. Anyway, let's go. Let's see how I do. I'll be all right. Yeah, that sort of shit. I think you gave me that last time. If I can't pronounce a film, I'm not going to properly. Then I'm not going to watch it.
Okay, no Les Miserables. and no Amelie. No problem.
No.
Technically,
hang on.
technically, the movie character is foreign.
Yeah, that's Alexander the Great.
Is from Ireland.
Yeah, that's fine. Is that Alexander?
That is Alexander.
Yeah. Oh, that is Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth is correct.
Oh, I have no idea what that is, but hang on.
Yeah, you're up on deck. Come on.
Oh, is it?
No, Griffin, this is not Dracula 2000. It is close. Very close.
It's not Bram Stoker's Dracula, is it?
It is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Gary Oldman Dracula. It's an oldie.
Casablanca, surely.
Casablanca is correct.
Oh, God. That's one of these really depressing ones. It's about addiction and shit.
No.
Is it not?
Yes and no.
No, I don't. I can't remember it.
Chat up. So this is Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
2013 movie.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson is in it, but only in voice. Here we go. We've got it.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Her.
No, I would never have got that.
It's a pretty good movie.
Right. That's Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass is correct.
That is that William H. Macy?
That is William H. Macy. The guy opposite him is Tom Hanks.
Oh, is that that's a brilliant one. Is it Magnolia? Right.
Magnolia is correct.
No, I didn't know that. Well done, Griffin. No idea.
Ooh.
No idea.
It's a pretty good film. It's British.
Yeah. Oh, it's not that one where he's in a wheelchair, is it?
He is in a wheelchair.
Is that one? Can We Dance or whatever?
No.
It's called something like You Before Me or something like that. Me Before You.
Yes, correct.
Okay. That's Bodyguard.
Bodyguard is correct.
And that is what's it called? Either The Aviator.
Not The Aviator. The other one that you made.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's a boring movie. It's a boring book.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or anything, is it?
Not correct.
Oh, Great Gatsby. Yeah, well done, Griffin.
It is The Great Gatsby. Correct. Yeah. Griffin got it. Paul's got it.
That was a good list. That was. I should have got those.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Fun game.
Not all perfect. Not all like all my feelings or Tom Connors or whatever.
Yeah. Is he good? Is he Tom Connors?
Tom Connors is legit. He is legit. Dude, the man worked at a video store, so all the posters and stuff he had to hang.
Oh, fine, yeah.
So he was exposed
to. As I say, I'm on away territory. So if this was Lifetime movies, then
that's in your wheelhouse.
I'd be killing it. Yeah.
So Josh, being the big Josh, can't go back home, can't do anything. So the next best thing is to get to Billy. So he goes back to the school and he finds Billy. And Billy is acting like any 13-year-old cornered by a
Tom Hanks.
By a strange large man not called Tom Hanks.
Yeah, okay.
Replace Tom Hanks with Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, all right. Or any of those.
Or any of them. And he has sort of a legit reaction. Help, please help. Please help me. But the fact of the matter is that song that they already gave you a glimpse of, when they got back home from, I think it was from baseball practice, they kind of sang half of it.
Right.
But then when they're in that locker room or the equipment room, Josh is singing it to Billy, and Billy kind of realizes what the fuck, and he explains that whole that whole wish thing, and they come up with a plan. They have to go to the city, and actually, that's pretty smart for 13-year-olds to go to the city, to the Parks and Rec, and get to see where is that carnival going, which is not a bad plan, to be honest.
Definitely not.
Let me see. So in the extended scene, there's also a scene where Billy goes to Josh's house, back to his own house, and brings him clothing from his own dad, so he can, get dressed. That whole like red coat and hat, that's Billy's dad's stuff.
Right. Okay. I don't remember that.
There we go. So his whole getup is technically from Billy's dad.
Yeah. And only a kid would not realize to pick out that jacket with like tracky bottoms.
Yeah, exactly. And that hat in 1988.
That just makes no sense. Like, the hat doesn't make you look like an adult if you're not a child. Do you know what I mean? Like, a hat's good if you're a kid pretending like that thing from BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
It's got that. Yeah.
And to me, the one thing that kind of was, I think the stuff that grounded this whole experience is basically going into New York City in 88, where it was sketchy.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very sketchy. Even in Manhattan, it was very sketchy.
It's
and one of the
pre-Giuliani New York.
Yes, exactly. Pre-Giuliani New York. If you don't know what we're talking about, go check it out. It's let's just say from the late 70s till the late 80s, early 90s, it was a lot of police corruption, a lot of neglect.
Yeah. A lot of crime going unpunished.
Yeah, sort of what we kind of have now, but
sort of like it's a bit like San Francisco these days.
Yeah, I've been to New York.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm like used to like grimy cities myself. It seems I didn't expect like super cleanliness, but the streets weren't like filled with homeless.
No, apparently it's in that period. Apparently, so I haven't actually been there, but apparently between sort of the mid 90s and now, the improvement is massive.
Yeah, like, but I expected kind of after COVID that stuff would be dilapidated, and you could see like places, and I'm talking specifically in Manhattan, that you could see a few bums and homeless people, but not a lot. I didn't not like super tense like we saw in like
London
or in LA. I've been to LA. There are some places where you can see a lot. And I was like, okay, I dig it. But Josh and Billy go to this place, and to me, the one thing that is like the hammer really hit Josh after Billy left, and he's left in this sketchy hotel. Even back then, or even now, it's super sketchy hotel.
Yeah.
And he's a 13-year-old boy. Never really like he's a suburb kid. They live in New Jersey, basically. They don't say New Jersey, but because of where they are, it kind of looks like New Jersey. Or it could be like Brooklyn or Queens, somewhere in the not in Manhattan. And when they go to Manhattan and they kind of the most scary thing is Billy left during the night by himself to go back home on the bus. But Josh is staying there, and he can hear people yelling, people screaming, shots being fired in the street because it's night in fucking New York City.
Yeah.
And he starts to fucking tear up, and he goes underneath his bed trying to with the pillow, trying to block all the sounds of the city. And I really felt for him, even back then and even now. It's
a really depressing scene, actually.
Sort of like kind of hits him real hard where he's at and what's going on, because he doesn't know how it happened. He doesn't know why it happened. And he's sort of trapped in that room and also trapped in that body. And he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And you feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, they are 13 and you can feel it in that scene in the hotel. But then both of them are very rational. It's like, okay, and Billy is more rational than Josh. It's like, okay, you're stuck in this body. We need to find this place until you can go back home as a kid. You need to get a job because all grown-ups have a job. And they have that scene in the diner where Billy is acting more adult than Josh.
Yeah.
Because he has that scene where he has the cherry and he's gurgling it in his mouth. And he's like, oh, you are disgusting.
Yeah.
And even Billy's like, gross. That's gross. So they're going to get a job at a toy factory. I love this scene where get it. Yeah, they're sitting outside of the desk, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, what's my social security number? Okay, just write in 20550. It's like she gives them like random numbers.
Yeah.
The guy checks his form, is like, I think you're missing numbers. 23? It's like, 23? It's like, okay, no problem. And he goes into an interview with this guy. And he's like, okay, something is missing here. It's like, no problem. And he puts down like, it's like, where did you go to school? It's like, he gives them a name, his high school name.
Yeah.
With a different college. It's like, been to this college. Oh, very nice.
I think it's like Notre Dame High School, isn't it? Or something like that.
Whatever it was. It wasn't important. The important part is like, he says the high school's name and the guy thinks it's the college name.
College, yeah.
And he kind of gets in to this place, this Macmillan Toys, because he can his experience playing games kind of extends to the fact that he knows how to do some like minor programming of sorts, because he's a kid. He grew up with a PC in the house. So he's into that sort of thing. Oh yeah.
That's it. That's the one.
George Washington.
That's it. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So George Washington University, like he got himself in. And this scene is, to be honest, one of my highlights, not my favorite scene in the world, but one of the highlights was like, he's sitting down to work. And the guy next to him is like, why are you working so fast?
And he's a kid. Yeah.
You're making us look bad.
Yeah.
Slow down with your work.
John Lovitz is brilliant. I love John Lovitz in so much stuff.
Yeah, and there's a moment there later on in a different scene where he's like, "Oh, this chick is cool. It's like I want to get with her," and Josh is like supremely clueless.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, Josh does have that sort of a crush, but he is in that pubescent phase. He's not really in that teenage horny phase yet.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And he still doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, not to the level that
not
a 30-year-old man is going to be talking about.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we kind of get introduced to Susan and the jerk. Macaulay Culkin's father. And
so I was going to say about this guy, right? So there's a lot of characters in 80s films just like this. Yeah. There's the guy at work that is after the woman, the love interest. And it's like, there's one, I think it's Working Girl has got one like this. And there's a few others. And I'll get their I think Jeffrey Johns plays one as well, speaking of Tom Hanks. We get like, they always look like, they've always got a certain look about them. And I always mix them up. So I'm glad you've told me it was him, because I had the Working Girl guy pictured.
The actor's name is John Hurd. I think he passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Sorry, the other one is what's it called? Don't Tell Mum the Babysitter's Dead. I think he plays that character in a few.
So.
But yeah. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
He's a character actor. He normally plays sort of like the bad guy or the obnoxious guy. Never a full-on villain. In this case, he is a villain, but he's sort of like the tough character or the bad character. And I think only in Home Alone, he kind of plays off as the good dad. Of sorts. He's not really mad about his son. He's like sort of like, we want to get back.
Yeah.
But in this, he plays basically the jealous boyfriend. And not only the jealous boyfriend, he also plays like the jealous kind of like old executive trying to get ahead. And suddenly there's a new guy out of nowhere. And he is sort of breaking this hegemony or hierarchy that how we do things normally. Right. And they have that conversation in the hall with the main Macmillan guy, and of course they ran into Josh, and he drops everything, and he kind of gets to meet Susan at that point because she saw him in the office, but kind of overlooked him. She didn't really pay attention to anything. She also barged into the interview he did, but again, he was looking at her. He wasn't looking at him.
Yeah.
So to her, he's like, came out of left field. And first week goes by and they get paycheck. And Josh gets a paycheck of $186. And John Lovitz is like, yeah, they stiff us. But to Josh is like, that's a lot of money. By the way, if you... I saw this somewhere. I think it was dumb, but because I'm a numbers guy, it's like he got $186 in 1988. In 2023, it was $496.
Okay,
which would make it about $25,000 a year job. In today's money. Not the best.
No,
just under. I think 30 grand is like the average.
I don't know what it is in the United States, but I can tell you if you live anywhere near New York, you're going to struggle to rent anywhere.
Yeah, you're going to struggle. You're definitely going to struggle with 25 grand a year.
Yeah, despite those rent controls, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are a number of small little scenes, especially at the beginning part of the movie where Josh isn't playing as an older guy, because there's a period in the movie where Tom Hanks is playing like the younger Josh, and as he kind of gets into the movie or gets involved with Susan, gets involved with the job, he kind of feels like he's getting older and older and older. But at this point, where it's like more lighthearted and more fun, they're like, I want to get this in 5 10s, 2 quarters, like, and they because they break down the money as a kid would break down the money, not as an adult. Because $186 is not a lot, even back then. It's not a lot.
No. But when you're like, how old was he in the start?
He was 13, and in the script, I think he's marked as 30. So 13 going on 30 is.
So if you're thinking of a 13-year-old, all the stuff you want to buy, you're probably at least halfway there with $186. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah,
but that's just
in 1988.
Yeah, and this is before he got the executive job.
Yeah.
I'm leading towards that executive job because when he cashed in, there's a Saturday, there's no bureaucracy. You can't get into that Parks and Rec office. What does Josh has to do in a big city? He's a kid. he goes to a gigantic toy store.
Yeah.
And he acts like a kid. So he puts on the laser tag, the old laser tag system, and he plays with a different kid. He, tries everything. He rides a zebra for I don't know what reason, but he also has a bag filled with toys also.
Yeah.
So he's having the time of his life because it's a fun store. It's a full-on fun store. And of course, who does he happen to run into the second time? It is McMillan himself. And he asks Josh, what are you doing here? It's like, no, I'm having some fun. I'm enjoying myself. And he kind of alludes to the fact that he is playing with his own kid, or at least that's what McMillan thinks.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, yeah, I'm here to, capture the youth as well. I like to have a feel in my own store.
Yeah.
Which leads to, I think, one of the greatest scenes of all time in movies. To be honest, Big, for some reason, is in the top 10 fantasy movies of all time. Some sort of a list.
Right.
Like, fantasy? Really? I don't think it's a fantasy movie. I think it's more like a comedy.
I'd say it's a comedy, but because when I hear fantasy, I think of elves and dwarves and shit.
Yeah. That's what like Lord of the Rings
or that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Whatever. But one of the greatest scenes in movie history, I think. And to be perfectly honest, the first time I've ever heard about the movie was at the time when I was a kid, every Thursday afternoon, there was a sketch show. It was a comedy sketch show that also had, it was live. It was full on live. So every sketch was live, sort of like a stage play. And then they did some sort of a segment. It was either sort of music of the week, there was a performance of the week, but there was also a guy who was reviewing movies.
Right.
He was a very well-known movie reviewer. I think till today, he does it mostly on the radio. But because back then we only had basically the one channel, so it was all mixed up. Radio, news, everything was mixed up. So that sketch show had a segment because they had to, change costume, change venue, change scenery, whatever. So they had that segment, and the movie reviewer, that's where I saw this particular scene for the very first time because it completely sold the movie for me.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't talk about so much of a context because it's and we call it today as a no spoiler review. So you got like the basic premise of the story, and then you get to this where it literally sold the movie. Now, I don't know if it was in the trailer. You can go to IMDb and watch the original movie trailer. I think it is represented, but it's not a big highlight of it.
Yeah.
And it's basically him playing chopsticks with McMillan, which leads him into being a full-on executive in McMillan Toys.
That's it. Yeah. Brilliant.
And when Billy comes to visit him, he's like, what are you doing? It's like, I play with toys and I give my opinion. It's like, that's it. That's what they asked me. That's the whole job. And it pays a bunch. It pays a lot more than a secretary. Now, could you guess? Because I know you haven't seen the movie recently, but I remember this chick even back then. Do you know who had their first movie debut in this movie, later on becoming somebody a lot more famous?
No, I don't. No, I want no idea.
So Josh's secretary, it's Deborah Jo Rupp, who is the mom in that 90s, that 70s show.
Wouldn't even recognize her. I never watched it. No, I didn't see that. No.
for the audience who are much more cultured than you are. No,
Yeah. Well, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that was her first kind of movie debut. So she's the timid secretary that is like afraid of Josh because he's crazy and he keeps asking her for like, oh, give me some like licorice and candy and some ice cream and stuff. She's like, really? That's what you want? And yeah. Meanwhile, so Susan and her boyfriend are having a little bit of a breakfast. This is after Josh comes into the store and, starts to tear shit up.
Yeah.
There's a reminder that Joshua Baskin is missing. And they're sitting around eating, like talking about basically him, but they don't know it's him.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if it's ironic or an oxymoron or whatever. But there's a sort of a light competition that's brewing up that is only on one side because Josh is completely unaware of this thing.
Yeah. And is this when is it racquetball?
No.
Okay, right, okay.
Or the racquetball. Yeah. Because what leads to the racquetball is this scene. John Hurd's character. I don't remember the name of the character. They're sitting around, and Josh he's doing a presentation, and Josh is like, "I don't get it. It's a build that turns into a robot. That's not fun."
He just keeps saying, "I don't get it," doesn't he?
Yeah, that's it. I don't get it.
What don't you get? I don't get it.
Yeah, and it. If I was him, I would be annoyed as well.
Yeah.
But he's simply not prepared for that sort of a question because he's used to like charts and focus groups and being analytic. And to be fair, it kind of represents how things are being done in these higher ups where it's executives and they're talking about market share and basically being bankers rather than looking at the product and trying to improve the product.
Yeah.
Or at least that's the feeling I get. And Josh comes in and his mind is towards the product because he's a kid. He's got a different mindset. He doesn't care about cost. He doesn't care about how much a die cast is to make an insect robot. He just thinks, an insect robot is more fun because you can turn it, you can switch it. It has a lot more buttons or whatever. It's more interesting. It's alive. And what he does is actually change the entire room environment. And John Hurd's character is like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And even when they go out to the meeting and he goes with Susan's like, how do you go into a room and say, I don't get it? And suddenly everybody is on your side. I'm perplexed. I'm completely perplexed. And McMillan is like, oh, this is exactly why I brought this guy in, because that's what I saw him doing in my store is trying to connect to the kids and sell more toys. And this is his mindset, but because he's in an environment where everybody's an executive, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But of course, when the money rolls in, it's time to, move it on up to the east side.
Yeah. I used to have that bed.
I used to have not that bed, but a bunk bed as well. Me and my brother had
that. Was terrible. I had it for a couple of years. It was awful.
Same.
Yeah.
Our bunk bed was not a top-down bunk bed. It was a sort of an L-shaped. So the bottom part fit like this.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah.
And when both me and my brother we finally graduated into our own separate rooms, all I had was the big bed, and we were poor. We couldn't afford anything. So my mother had to slice the bed
Oof.
the big legs. They had to slice them evenly and make it a smaller bed because I didn't want to sleep up top.
Yeah.
I was 13-ish, 12, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have a bunk bed without a bottom bunk.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But yeah, the bunk bed is a thing, but not the bunk bed is my issue. The issue is he's got a massive apartment.
Yeah.
Massive. Even back then, they would charge you a hand, like a hand and a leg for that sort of thing. But yeah, what they do is they make the apartment a child's apartment.
Yeah.
It had the springboard, it had the Pepsi machine, it had it had everything basically.
It's a fun house.
It's a fun house. Yeah. It's not even a man cave because he's not a man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have like more mannish things, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially in the 80s.
Quite.
Yeah. And then, of course, he has that office party, and they go to a tailor.
Yeah.
And he goes into the fitting room, and he comes up with the most ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous outfit, which is a cross between an Elvis suit
and a tux,
and a conductor's tux and something you go to the prom. I don't know what it is.
That's got to have inspired Dumb and Dumber's yellow and blue and orange.
I didn't even think about it, but I think there's something in it. Yeah. Top and tail, and the thing is, the other executives are making fun of him. Susan is like, he's adorable, and Macmillan's like, yeah, this man is breaking all.
Yeah, it is actually ludicrous, is it? But that's brilliant.
Oh, it's so dumb. It is so dumb. But you know what? This is like committing to the role. And I've mentioned it before. This is totally commitment to the entire role. As like Josh has never encountered mini corn, so he eats it like a regular corn.
Yeah.
Corn on a cob. And it's fun. And then Susan comes in, and a tray of caviar walks by, and he tastes it, and he immediately spits it out because kids
don't pretend.
First of all, they don't pretend about what they like and what they don't like.
Exactly.
And second of all, kids that even that age don't have a developed sense of taste for something like very because beluga isn't, it tastes like fish, but the texture is not like fish, like salty fish.
The majority of people who eat that stuff don't like it. I would say
I like it.
Maybe you're not the majority. I expect you like dark chocolate as well.
I do.
Yeah, there you go.
I prefer dark chocolate too. First of all, I don't like most chocolates, but I prefer dark.
I was speaking to someone else who was saying that almost the exact same thing the other day. Then they said, "Oh, it's a healthy chocolate. It's a healthy version." I said, "I'll tell you, the healthy version of chocolate is not fucking eating chocolate."
Don't judge me.
Anyway, let's move on.
Paul is like, yeah, very Liberace. That's the thing.
Fucking is. That's the between. Yeah, Liberace, definitely Liberace. And yeah, I remember did he pass away that year, 87 or was it 89? I can't remember when Liberace died.
I think so.
I thought it was
right around that time. I think right around that time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's Paul Harley. He knows his shit. He's gonna know.
Yeah, he knows his shit.
Yeah.
He knows his shit. So the fact that he can't eat that sort of thing, and he goes into like super convulsions into like after eating it, and it's hilarious because when you're a kid, even if you're an adult, you remember when you were a kid and you ate something that is supposed to be grown up.
Yeah.
like I've never had like smoked salmon or something. I don't know. Smoked salmon is fine, I guess, or tuna fish or whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't have liked to
Right?
eat it. Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat that. No way. And of course, Susan sees something, like I said, adorable about him,
Yeah.
and she's getting the vibe, but she's not really there. But she is infatuated with him.
Yeah.
So they go on a limo ride, and what the fuck does Josh do on the limo? He presses every single button imaginable because that's what you expect a kid to act. Now, 13 is a little bit old to be acting like that. A 10-year-old, I would say, do that more.
They had to do that, though, didn't they? It's too many opportunities. They have to make him behave like a 10, 11-year-old. Like,
yeah, but that's exactly the kind of behavior you would expect of a kid and not an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
And he is completely unprepared for what he's doing. But then when they get out, like when they open up the sunroof and he goes out and he's like, yeah, come up here and enjoy this. She starts to connect to that sort of like from her end. It's sort of a free spirit kind of a thing rather than being a stuffy old executive.
Because in 80s films, if you've got a job that you you have to do slightly long hours, it means you've forgotten how to have fun and everything. You never have any fun outside of work. You live for work. That's how it is in films, isn't it?
Yeah. No. Well, it's a movie, so you have to exaggerate.
Yeah,
Plus, it's an hour 45. The extended version is an hour 55, I think.
Right, okay.
No, the extended version is a 210.
Oh, wow.
The extended version is a 210. Right. So round about a couple of hours for the movie.
Yeah.
But they stuff in a whole bunch of story in it. They do. They do.
That's the one I trying to see, but unfortunately I couldn't access it. Last night. And
then of course when they get back home, it's, you know what? If you were born at a certain time, you know, I'm getting into a specific point that they go back home. He invites her in. To him is very, mundane. She's like, oh my God, he's inviting me over for coffee. He's completely innocent because he is out of his league.
Of course.
Point. But what I'm mentioning is this, where he goes back home, they get up in the elevator, goes to his door, and he takes out the key on the rope. Now, did you or did you not have a key on a rope when you grew up?
No.
Oh, you were not a latchkey kid?
No.
Oh.
No.
So whoever grew up, I guess it's either a suburbia thing or because I grew up, I had a key on a rope.
I was suburbia as well, but and I've had a few friends. Most of my friends were latchkey kids. My mum didn't work.
Oh, okay. So when I came home, I had like both my parents were working, and my brother, who was significantly younger than me, he was at a daycare center. And I had a key, and I spent at least a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours by myself, and I could go to friends and not tell my parents at all. They knew once they get home, I'll be coming back home too because I need to eat dinner.
But
I had that key on. So when I saw this, it was like that captures a moment in time that no longer exists, like many other things. But that's a very specific moment in time that we'll probably never see again.
I would have thought so.
If kids come back home and there are no parents in the house, usually there's somebody else there waiting for them to get them into the house, or they don't have a key. They have a security lock.
Of course.
Or use their phone to open up the door.
Because
that's technology, I guess.
And obviously times are different, so it wasn't. It didn't used to be as bad leaving your kid at home alone for a few hours.
Yep.
Now, God knows what will happen.
Yeah, like social services are knocking
Well,
at your door.
that as well. Yeah, quite. That I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah, of course.
Yeah, it really depends. And the fact that he's bringing her on, and he invites her to jump with him again. Yeah. It's going back to that limo where he goes up through the sunroof and lets that sort of a stuffiness air out.
Yeah.
This is her stuffiness kind of breaking down. And then when they finally stop, he's like, do you want to sleep over? It's like, she's like, do you want me to spend the night? It's like a sleepover? No problem. And immediately she like goes out, gets dressed with his clothing.
Yeah.
And then she faces the bunk. It's like, do you want to be on the bottom or on top? It's like, oh. But then she kind of gets it and nothing happens really. Yeah. But for some reason, that makes her actually happier that nothing happens. It's like, oh, this is...
Maybe he's a gentleman.
Yes, maybe he's a gentleman. Maybe he's not into like getting in my pants immediately.
Yeah.
And then of course you have we'll call it a dick off.
Yeah,
where they face off and do the racquetball thing.
Oh, it's not racquetball, is it? What is this called? Is it racquetball?
I think
it's
racquetball?
Paddleball or something. Somebody help me out here because I don't think that's racquet. Racquetball is like squash with a slightly wider head. This is something. This is something else, and I don't know what. I can't remember what it's called. Paddleball. Thank you very much. Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah.
I mean, I've played this at school because we didn't have squash arenas.
Yeah, courts, squash courts. Yeah, arenas. It's not fucking.
I think that's an adequate description.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, that's not bad because people watch from the top, don't they? So it's a bit like the Colosseum. Yeah.
But you know what? Have you been to Manhattan?
No, I've not been to New York.
I to be honest, I didn't expect these kind of courts to actually still exist. They do still exist.
Basketball, surely. Basketball hoops all over them.
It's a basketball court. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do still exist. They're like, because the Manhattan is so dense, you go around one corner and you're like, okay, I'm in the city. And you go in another corner and suddenly there's like a small little park, a little mini park. Just imagine this whole pavement is gone and there's just a few benches and a few trees. And that's a park with a kid's ride. That's it.
That's got to be incredibly frustrating for developers to see wasted land like that.
Yeah, I know.
It's like allotments in London, complete waste. Anyway.
Yeah, but I've seen a basketball court exactly like that. It was like, oh, these still exist. I was actually shocked, and they do manage to fight. And Susan is taking care of Josh with a peroxide or something.
Right.
It's like, oh, he's a bad man, and Josh is just happy that somebody's taking care of him like a mom, a kid, and that's where they're sort of like their entire relationship kind of develop to the point where she goes into the office with her boyfriend and is like, yeah, he's treating me nice and you're being a jerk.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and she even tells him he's more mature than you. I was like, what? No. No. She says he's got more mental maturity than the John Hurd's character.
And here's where my issue is with this, right? So, I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, this is a bit creepy." This film stuff. It's that, and maybe it is, but like, it's even if you didn't assume he was 13 years old and in a man's body, which you wouldn't, you'd probably assume he was retarded, wouldn't you? At the very least, you'd assume he's a few cans short of a 6-pack, whatever.
Are you talking like a Forrest Gump situation?
Yeah, like as in like you'd assume that somebody.
He's not mentally handicapped.
I
but
would
there's
you would assume
there.
he was if he was behaving like that and he was obviously an adult. You would assume there was something wrong with him.
Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can like put your finger on it and like saying, "Oh yeah, he's like."
No, there's no.
Yeah,
He's not like got any of the classic retardation.
No, he doesn't have any Down syndrome because
he's not dribbling
on the face.
He's not dragging his leg.
He's not a half monkey.
Yeah,
but yeah, you would like. Is he just a guy who didn't grew up out of his mom's basement or something?
Yeah.
Something. There's something there.
Maybe he's an eccentric. I suppose you'd assume that.
Like I said, maybe he's a free spirit, but free spirit means that he's like a hippie.
Yeah, exactly.
He's really a hippie.
No, he's not. He's a fucking strange bloke.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's not. Yeah.
When they go to celebrate, I think it's Billy's birthday. Not sure it's Josh. I forgot. I actually forgot. You guys in the chat will tell us if it's Josh or Billy's birthday. I think it's Billy's birthday.
I thought it was Josh's, but that's my guess. But anyway, this chat will tell us.
I literally blank on it right now. The thing is, Josh goes to actually date Susan or have some sort of a date with her.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know where to take her. So he actually takes her into a carnival, a roaming carnival, and they have that sort of interaction. And when she eats that hot dog with the mustard, he's like, "You've got something here." And he's like, "Where? Here?" No,
that's it.
A part of the joke. And they do kind of strike up a fun little conversation, more adult conversation, but then it kind of foreshadows because they're in that place where it kind of pans in and you see the Zoltar machine.
Yeah.
And they just go past it and they don't even see it. And later on, of course, he gets to the same place with the same Zoltar machine, but he did not know it. That pier, I think it's in New York, but it's more upstate.
Oh, is it? Okay.
No, yeah, it's not near New York City. It's more upstate.
Right.
I don't remember the name of the town. I think it's Pyre, something with Pyre in it.
Right.
No, Rye, New York. Rye,
okay.
New York.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's more upstate. And like I said, there's a moment where you can kind of see him move into a more of an adult behavior. That sort of a kid behavior that you just said he kind of looks half retarded.
Yeah.
But not really.
But now he's a retard with a boner.
This is the moment where he kind of becomes more of a grown-up. And this is where Billy's resentment comes in, where he's like, "You're not an adult. You're 13-year-old. Yeah. You're my friend. We just played Little League together. Get a grip."
Yeah.
Right? This is where Billy's frustration comes in. But like it builds up a little bit. However, the love scene, which is very much contested. First of all, originally, this was supposed to be a topless scene.
Right.
In the script, she is supposed to be topless. The fact that she's wearing a bra and he is like trying to touch it because he's never touched breasts ever again.
Yeah.
And he's doing the kids sort of like, "Oh, this are he's doing the honk kind of that's what you would get.
Probably is, yeah.
It's like he doesn't know how to take off a bra. He has not encountered anything like this before. Yet, like I said, there was supposed to be a full-on scene, but they did somebody put it once, it's the Beverly Hills 90210 sex scene where they kiss and then it fades out into black and then fades into the next morning.
The morning.
Happy at the night. Walking down the street. I am so happy I did the thing.
Yeah.
Now he goes into the office and he's super happy. Like he's wearing his grown-up clothes, but he's still like, oh, I'm happy. And he goes into the office and he's like talking to his secretary. He's like, I would like a coffee, please.
Right? He's suddenly grown up.
Suddenly he's grown up.
Yeah.
And then of course he does the grown-up things, right? I'm just getting to this because grown-ups have grown-up friends. They don't hang around with 13-year-old Billy.
Yeah. Tom Hanks made an exception.
Yeah, Tom Hanks made an exception. Yeah. But what happens is he sees the guest host's dad, like child talks to his dad, and the dad is like, I can't help you. I'm busy entertaining people. But it's like Josh knows this stuff because they're basically the same age. So he goes out and explains to the kid, and the kids understand. And the mom and Susan are looking at them, and there's like, oh, he's in tune with some kids. He'll be a great husband or a great dad someday. Yeah. Like, oh shit. Okay. They just don't get it.
No.
And then, you know what? We'll do a stop. Oh, never mind. Before we do stop, Billy gets the printout from the Parks and Rec and get all the different numbers of where the carnivals are.
Yeah.
And also, Josh goes out into the street and he sees the comic books, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And he also sees the kids picking up a comic book and goes out and go to their friends, and they all like sitting down on these steps and they're reading the comic books. And he's looking at them as if he's an actual adult longing for the old days of how simple it was when he was just a kid and he was reading comic books. And this is what I mentioned, the fact that he feels like he's an adult now for some reason, and he's not.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Which leads us, before we end the entire show and the entire movie, it leads us to our second game of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. Two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? Boys and girls in the chat, cast your votes. Insidious or Silence of the Lambs?
No question. Silence of the Lambs is brilliant.
Silence of the. Have you seen Insidious?
Yeah.
I've only seen it last year. It is a pretty fucking good horror movie.
It's good, but it's not not Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, it doesn't hold a candle to Silence of the Lambs. No. Yeah, and then Michael Myers knows his stuff. I mean, that's the ultimate bad guy.
You expect, yeah,
you would expect, yeah. Constantine or Blade?
Well, I haven't seen Constantine. Is it good?
Okay. It's better than what the critics thought of it.
Okay. Blade, do you know what? Blade was all right, the first one. I liked it, but then the trilogy, that's one of these all-action films where nothing actually happens. It's just fighting, and I hated them. And I think that's ruined my memory of Blade. But I'll let the chat decide this one because... as I haven't seen Constantine.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of split difference here because Blade is really good. Constantine ain't that bad. And like I said, look, Michael Myers says Blade, Sander Hammerschlag says Constantine.
Yeah, let's give it one more. Next goal wins.
No, to me, to be perfectly honest, I absolutely love Constantine.
Okay.
Because you would think Keanu Reeves would play like a Matrix kind of a guy.
Yeah.
It's something that is completely different. He is not John Wick in this, even though it's like 10 years before John Wick.
Yeah.
He is not Neo in this. He is a completely different character, and it's all about heaven and hell.
Right.
They're both comic book movies. Basically, Constantine is a comic book character. I would prefer watching Blade.
Fair enough.
Cabin in the Woods, movie that we covered recently, or Along Came Polly.
I'd go for Along Came Polly, but where are you on that?
Any reason?
I really like it. I think it's underrated.
Okay.
There's a lot of good stuff in that, I think. But I'll see what other people say as well. Be interested.
All right. Let's cast your votes. I'm kind of split here because look, horror is not my thing.
Yeah, same. Rom-coms are my thing.
But yeah, so rom-coms so Along Came Polly is right up your alley. That's fine. Cabin in the Woods is a pretty good horror movie for people who don't like horror movies.
Oh, okay.
It has all of the tropes that you would expect from people who respect the genre.
Yeah.
But it's something that is completely different. Plus, it has I want to say a surprising ending. It's not like a shocker,
I think I've seen it, but I found it non-memorable. But,
yeah.
I've seen so many things, and sometimes I just don't finish them, or I forget them, or they're so like they roll into one. I'm not really paying that much attention. That's the problem with not seeing things in theaters. You sit on the sofa, you play Candy Crush or whatever, or you crack on you start like making thumbnails. Is what I do when I'm sat on the thing, and then you sort of take your eye off the stuff.
To be honest, Along Came Polly has a lot of good stuff in it.
Yeah.
A lot. Brian Brown is great in it as the eccentric.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is brilliant. Yeah,
he's great. Philip Seymour Hoffman is great in it as the like dejectable, degenerate actor,
former child star. Yeah,
it's great. It's absolutely great. The only downer in the entire movie is actually Ben Stiller. Everyone else is great.
Yeah.
Betty. Oh, I haven't seen it.
I mean, I've seen neither.
I haven't seen neither. Sorry.
All
right. Letters to Juliet or A Secret Window.
I've seen neither, and both of those look terrible. I would never want to watch either of those.
I've seen both, but I'll give it to you. Saved
or
Pirates of the Caribbean
on
Stranger Tides.
I used to like Saved. Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm afraid I am not a Pirates of the Caribbean fan at all. I don't care which one, whether it's Curse of the fucking Davy Jones locker or whatever. I've got no interest. I would go Saved, but everyone is going to say Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch Saved ever again. This the one and the only. They tried to stuff all the teen bop, like early 2000s stars in it.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin? Nope.
Yeah. Everyone's gone for Pirates there. Good.
Yeah.
I didn't know they would, yeah.
Charlie Wilson's War. Talk about Tom Hanks and Howl's Moving Castle.
I've seen neither.
Oh,
have you seen both of these?
Yes, I have.
I've seen neither of those either. What is this? Right. Oh, okay. Go. Right, here we go.
You must have seen
I hate Showgirls with a passion. Phenomenon isn't great, but it's better than Showgirls. Phenomenon.
Okay.
100%.
All right. So
I know your chat's going to say Showgirls.
If you would have asked me a couple of months ago, I would immediately say Phenomenon.
Yeah.
I found a new appreciation for Showgirls. Not because of the sex, not because of anything. There's a underlying story in there that Paul Verhoeven got us, and
Right.
it's been misunderstood all these years.
Yeah, that's an excuse.
I don't need to see more tits. If I need to see more tits,
No. I'm not saying that. No,
online.
that's an excuse for him to say that. Everyone is terrible,
No,
right?
I don't care.
I had to watch this because I did a video on this, and I had to watch it. That means I have to watch it 3 times. I have to watch it, then I have to watch it and go to the clips, then I have to watch it back. This it's far too long. It is so boring. The same thing happens over and over again. Loads of the stuff doesn't make sense, and it's just a 3-hour film where nothing happens. I can't stand it.
To me, Phenomenon, the problem with Phenomenon is it has a very, very, very disappointing ending.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't watched it, I'm not going to spoil it.
Well, they're not going to watch it now, are they, if they haven't seen it?
Yeah, it's worth watching, but only once. Showgirls, you can watch more than once, and not because it's full-on tits.
No.
But the chat has decided. Right,
Yeah.
One last one. Come on, Flick Chart. Come on. See, it's staging a coup. All right.
Oh.
Escape from Alcatraz or run.
Oh, what?
That's not fair. It sometimes when it jams, it goes into one pair, and then
I'll tell you what I would have picked. I would have picked Escape from Alcatraz. I love Escape from Alcatraz.
Same.
But
same.
on this one, oh god,
Crazy or 8 Mile.
Oh,
I know everybody in the chat is gonna take Escape from Alcatraz. It's a much better movie.
Okay,
Run is not bad. It's just Escape from Alcatraz is better.
This is gonna get this. Everyone's gonna say stir crazy here, but I love See No Evil, Hear No Evil is brilliant, but I preferred 8 Mile to this one. I think I actually really liked 8 Mile. I've only seen it once, but I enjoyed it.
Okay, I've seen 8 Mile once. I think actually Eminem was an underrated performer in it, but it did play to his strengths.
Yeah, he played Eminem, basically, didn't he?
It made Eminem way bigger than before.
Yeah,
I know people don't like him.
Neither do I.
Sandra Hammerschlag just said it in the chat.
Yeah,
it's like I don't like him.
No, I don't like him either.
Stir Crazy. It's a well-written movie. It's a well-acted movie. It's a fun movie, and you are howling laughing if you're into that comedy. If you're not, then it's a meh movie.
Yeah.
But it's just undeniable. It's just so good. Fair enough. Maybe it's because when I got into like Richard Pryor movies and Gene Wilder movies, like See No Evil, Hear No Evil, it's so great. It's just more of the same, but a different story. That was it for me. It's just a fun story, and I haven't seen it in a while, and I should.
No, I haven't seen it for ages either. Moving is another good one. Richard Pryor one. I like that. Not many people like that, but I do like it. And what's the other one? Is it Critical Condition? I haven't seen that one, I don't think, for a while. One where Richard Pryor's a doctor, and then there's The Toy. There's a good one as well, Richard Pryor.
What was the one? I don't remember the name, where he inherits like a
Brewster's Millions. Brilliant. I love that one.
I absolutely love that movie. I don't know why. It's one of the movies that like it does it for me when it comes to like a Richard Pryor single movie.
Yeah.
It's like a personal favorite when it comes to him.
Love it.
Cool. Awesome. Where we're I need to bring up the movie. So Josh goes to see the comic book movies, and then he comes up with the idea of combining the PC game, which this is to me one of the best kind of like setup and payoff, because it sets up the comic book, it sets up the PC from the very first beginning, and then he plays it at her place again, and he actually wins this time, and then it comes up with the story comes up with this book or this toy that he pitches to Macmillan, where it's build your own adventure book, but it's also electronic.
That's right.
Even for the time, very progressive. Now, I when I was 14, I had a stack full of books, which are sort of like role-playing D&D type books, which are choose your own adventure books.
Okay.
But you actually had to read.
Yeah.
It wasn't electronic.
Yeah.
And they have that sort of a brainstorming at her place of what can they do, what sort of thing is, what are they planning to do, and they're having a good time while doing work.
Yeah.
Which interests her more than him.
Yeah.
And then we have that confrontation with Billy. And Billy's like, okay, I brought you this list. I got this list in the mail. We have to hammer this out and find that Zoltar machine. But yet Josh has already done that full conversion into being an adult. It's like, I get out of here. I've got some work to do. I've got some stuff to prepare. I've got this big meeting coming up, son.
Yeah.
And Billy completely explodes on him. It's like, dude, you're Josh. We just had a mini little league together. It's like, I'm older than you by 2 months. So get a grip, dude. And then, of course, we have that sort of just a reminder, because Josh's mom, she's all wrecked up. Her son is missing after there was a stranger in the house, remember? And she finds the walkie-talkie. She presses on it, and Billy hears it on the other side. And we get sort of like a mirror image of the first scene that we saw Josh and Billy together.
Yeah.
But this time, Josh is filled by his mom because he's missing. And Billy reassures Josh's mom. It's like, it'll be okay. He'll be home soon. Because he kind of gets that feeling of, yeah, we found what we needed. He just needs to act upon it. Then, of course, the big meeting. I want to get to
Do I remember this? I don't even remember this.
What?
I don't remember the meeting.
Yeah.
I'll remember it as soon as I see the picture.
No. I think the meeting was even before the Billy thing. Where is it? I hate VLC sometimes. So I don't have it on screen, but the meaning is it's the same room where Josh was in and he didn't understand. Now he's pitching something, and John Hurd's character is like,
that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I don't get it. And he does it on purpose.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But actually, they get to Macmillan. They get him to understand that idea. But after Billy comes in and he goes all haywire, this is where Josh kind of realizes, yeah, I don't really belong in this world. So he goes back to his old neighborhood and he sees the kids running around in the leaves. He goes to the Little League place. He sees the girl he has a crush on with an older guy, probably 15 or 16
That's
years
right,
old.
yeah.
Has to be because he's driving a car. Yeah, he goes, he sees two kids. They're wearing the same jersey as he and Billy did because it's their local kind of high school team, or junior high team. And he goes back to his girlfriend house and he is like, I'm not an adult. I'm a kid. And she doesn't actually get it.
Yeah, of course.
And he can't really divulge too much. And she thinks, he tells her, I'm like a high school 13-year-old kid. It's like, I know you sometimes feel that way. It's like, no, you don't get it. I'm an actual 13-year-old. And she really doesn't really get it. But he's frustrated. He even says, I want to go back home. And as soon as she says that, I literally had a big laugh because when I saw this when I was a kid, it's like it didn't really hit. As an adult, it hits quite hard because he says, "I want to go back home," and she's like, "Oh my God, you're married."
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
You're married. Like, oh no, I'm not married. I just want to go back home. I'm just a kid. And she thinks he's pulling her leg, but then she finds he told her, I went to a wishing, like a fortune teller machine, and I got my wish, and I wanted to be big, so I got big. And then he leaves her apartment and goes out to find the Zoltar machine.
Yeah.
And she finds the card and she goes after him. Oh, I found it. Never mind. I've found the meetings. Like, it's this. Yeah, I don't get it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. So Josh goes out of the meeting and he goes out and finds this machine because I just up the timeline, but he finishes the meeting. He understands, like, it's after he tells her, and then he goes out, and then Billy comes in to see if he wants to look for the machines, and she finds him in the street buying a hot dog. It's like, who are you? It's like, I'm his friend. It's like, wait, he's really 13?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she kind of gets the message. And I love the little detail because he goes to the Zoltar machine and he tries to make it work and it doesn't work. So he takes it out of the electricity socket, and then suddenly it's like he's like, that doesn't work, and he bangs on it, and then suddenly it comes to life.
Right.
And you don't see him ask for anything, and not even in the extended version, but you can see her like going into the sort of parking lot. She sees him next to the machine, and as she finds him, is like, I already made my wish. I wish to go back home. And she's frustrated because she actually kind of loves him. She's not in love with the sort of half retarded version of him. She's in love with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, I saw the card. Is it really, is it done? He's like, it's done. And she's the one driving him back home.
So I don't remember how exactly. I mean, I remember the scene with him in the suit, but does he change in the car, or does he change as he's walking away?
No, he does not change at all.
He does.
There's a moment here, and this is weird because the script says that she kisses him on the lips.
Yeah.
But at this point, even after the sex scene or the alleged sex scene, she doesn't kiss him on the lips. She kisses him on the cheek because at this point she realizes, he was telling the truth.
Yeah.
She can't really treat him like an adult anymore. Because when she thought he was an adult, it was fine. But now she knows he's a kid. It doesn't sit well with her. Now, this is the point where everybody's like, not everybody, but the whole point is, why did she sleep with him? Is she a pedophile? She's not a pedophile. First of all, it's just his mind that is 13. Okay, I get it. She doesn't see it. Plus, she doesn't know it. To her,
no, it's fine. Yeah.
He's a 30-year-old man.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you met someone and they were just behaviourally childishly, you'd probably think they're doing it for a joke or it's a bit funny. You wouldn't think, oh, he must have gone or she must have gone to a carnival machine and made a wish and turned from a 12-year-old into a 30-year-old. You just wouldn't think that. So
yeah, exactly.
So it's not. I mean, it's not a paedophile story, is it? So, like, people just say that sort of shit now because they like to be offended by stuff.
Not really, but yeah. So there's a moment where he walks to his house and he turns around and he looks at her.
Yeah.
And in the scene, you see the camera kind of looking at her face, looking at him.
Yeah.
And he turns around and he keeps walking.
Yeah. And then you see that scene, don't you?
And then he is a kid, and then it's 2 seconds, so it's not a big problem.
Yeah.
So he walks around and he turns, and he's just the 13-year-old kid in this bit like an adult suit.
Yeah.
So it just hangs all over his body, right?
Yeah.
And then he walks in the house, and you can hear his mom, Josh.
Yeah. That's it.
It goes all crazy. And that is the end of the movie. Awesome.
Good work.
Any last thoughts? Quick summary.
Do I have any last thoughts? No, not really. So it's been a while since I've seen it. You've certainly reminded me of a few bits. Just going on, I agree with what Sander says here at the end. That probably is. I don't know whether that's worse or on par, but it's not great.
Look, no, go ahead. I have a few words about that.
But that's what I feel she would think. That's what I would think in that situation. But of course, it's a movie, and that's part of the story. So that's all I think.
The thing to me is, it's all about perception. If you're in, it's really dark to go into like psychopathy of that sort of a sexual relations, we'll call it.
Yeah.
But the movie itself is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun with playing with, he's 13, but he's really looking like 30.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. Only he knows. So if there's something wrong on his end, but he's also, like I said, 13.
Yeah. So he's technically not charged as an adult, is he? So tried as an adult.
He's not an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
He's 13, but he's, like I said, he is doing the honk thing because he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And on her side is like he's being endearing.
Yeah.
And on his side is like, whoa, what's happening? This is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm touching a lady or a lady bits, right? Paul Harley said whimsical. I think it is because it wasn't trying to be, because they didn't give us the full sex scene. They gave us the old fade to black kind of thing, and then kind of suggesting there's something happened. But what happened is, like I said, it matured him. It actually put him in the category of now he's an adult, or at least that's how he acted, even though it wasn't true. But then when he realizes what he's missing and even says to her, I haven't done this. I don't know how to drive. I haven't done my first thing here and thing. He misses a lot of firsts and he wants to experience them for the very first time. So that's part of the reason why he decided to go back. He doesn't want to skip the line. He wants to experience a few things.
Yeah. And
that's what makes this very much a wholesome thing, not really going into the extreme.
No, that's not. No. I've got to say this. I was about to say this earlier. Mike Myers says, I've always felt he behaves more like a 7 or 8 year old than a 13-year-old kid, kind of takes him out of it. And to be honest, when I watched this, I think I was 10 or 11 years old, and I found the kid really childish, even as a kid. And then when he had grown up, starts acting even younger than that. So yeah, it did take me out of it. You're better off watching it older than you are as that age, I think.
And
you know what I mean?
I think I mentioned the fact that in some in some areas, he is like a 10-year-old rather than a 13-year-old.
But I mean, as a kid, there was no question. I mean, he was very immature, like as in like it wasn't right. Like and then Tom Hanks, when he like, it was way more childish than a 13-year-old. Because you got to think 12, 13-year-olds are already doing, well, certainly in the UK, they're up to, like, they wouldn't have been behaving like that on the bunk beds, trust me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty grim, but like that's what they do. And so it was a bit weird seeing Tom Hanks doing that when I was at 11 and he was behaving like, as far as I've seen, an 8 or 9-year-old. And so I agree with what Mike Myers says.
And the other thing is, it has the movie itself has the distinct pleasure of being one of a few movies that had fuck in it, once or twice.
Was that John Hurt's character?
And it is a PG rated movie.
Who says it?
I think the John Hurt's character.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I think. And it's the old PG. It's before it went PG and PG-13. Oh, so G rating and PG-13. So yeah, kind of strange, but they let stuff slide. Like, they never used to let shit slide, but if you say less than 3 times shit, it actually can count as a G rated or a PG rated kind of a movie.
Much like YouTube videos on their monetization.
Yeah,
just gotta be careful.
Let's not get into that. But yeah. And the UK PG is not similar to the US PG.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. Cool. That kind of brings us to the end, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I did. I enjoyed the movie as well. Please be sure to go to Jay Harang's channel. Check it out first. And then, if you like what he does, actually subscribe to the channel. That's what he has asked every single time. And I fully respect that. I actually want you to do the same with my channel. If you like the rest of the content, subscribe and watch. There's plenty of stuff to go around. I review movies that you can review today, tomorrow, or in 10 years. It will probably be sort of the same, my same opinion that I have. So please go to Jay's channel, check it out. It's fun, humorous way of reviewing terrible movies.
It's more, they're more comedy recaps than they are reviews. I wouldn't call them reviews. Yeah.
I actually do watch them every single week that you come up with them. I do not want to watch the movie itself. I just I like Jay's take on them. It's just fun. It's all fun. And it'll bring a smile. It has no politics. It has no nothing. Just straight up fun stuff. So please enjoy yourself. And next week, ladies and gentlemen, we continue our Thanksgiving month with Catch Me If You Can. So please go watch that movie. Come back to us next week. Hopefully all my feelings will be here and not too busy with his actual day job. Because I love him and I want him here. So yeah, go watch that and come back to us next week. And remember, guys, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, especially after the last week. And no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week. You're still here? It's over.